one thing that became available probably about 3 years ago was the data retrieval tool. I don't have a picture of that, but basically with the data retrieval tool, depending on the parent's filing status, they can go to the, they can go from the FAFSA to the IRS site, have that information transported from the IRS to their FAFSA. And that's a great tool because you're less likely to make mistakes, and it literally lifts that information, puts it in the FAFSA. Now the parents will have to have a PIN, which is a personal identification number, but they'll be able to get that through the FAFSA. But they go to that site from the FAFSA, get that information, and then they click back and go back into the FAFSA. That's really important for several reasons. First of all, makes the FAFSA easier to do, less likely to make mistakes. But for those parents that were eligible to use this, that didn't use it, that student may be selected for a process called verification, where they're going to have to submit some information to the financial aid office, and they'll have to submit a tax transcript. Talk a little about that in a minute, but basically, if the parents are able to go to the IRS site and put that information in, make sure you encourage that. Now, typically it takes about 2 weeks from when the parents file before they're able to use that tool. Last year they had said it was going to be 3 weeks. I know when I came to Molina, they had just sent out something saying it was going to be 3 weeks, but we were able to do it within a week. Sometimes they'll say 2 or 3 weeks, but sometimes it's a lot quicker. So hopefully your parents are filing now or in January, so when Super Saturday comes, it's going to be easy to just transfer that information from the IRS to the FAFSA. Did I have questions? Did I see a hand?
Well, I was going to ask, is the data retrieval going to be available earlier this year? Because I know last year.
Yeah, so last year there was sequestration and some other things, and what happened was it caused not so much the Department of Ed, but caused the IRS to be a little slow. But again, they were saying 3 weeks, and in some instances it was 1 week. I hope it's going to be available. I haven't seen anything that said it's not going to be available or there's going to be a delay. But also, by the way, if it's not available, you can still use the tax information to put it there, but you can always, but then go back to the FAFSA and then use the data tool to transfer it. Even though it's in there, hopefully it's right, it's probably going to be the same thing, but if you go through and you use that tool and you transfer it in, then you're going to be okay. Yes, sir.
So if we know that the parents filed, but the student is reluctant to go to asking the parent for financial information, or they can't find it anymore, within a few weeks after they file, they can go in and get this with one button click to fill everything in.
Well, it's a couple of buttons, but yeah, they can go in. but you kind of led me with that question, but you're saying the parents are refusing to give the information.
Either the student is reluctant to pull it from the parent, or the parent can't find it now.
Oh, okay, oh, yeah. If with the parent's permission, then the student will be able to go in and get that. Okay, I thought we were addressing.
They'll need the parent's PIN.
They'll need the parent's PIN. No, the demo is, it's a FAFSA that's not a real FAFSA. It's like the real FAFSA, and you can go up, you as counselors and service providers can go in and play with this and make up scenarios and do certain things. The data retrieval tool isn't one of those things that you can do. So sign and submit, which is the next, almost the end of the FAFSA. Here's where the student and at least one parent will sign using their PIN or personal identification number. They go in and put that number in, and then they hit submit. When they don't have a PIN, which most parents won't, sometimes some of the students may have a PIN, and sometimes parents will have a PIN because they've helped one of their children earlier, or maybe they went to college recently, but then they may have a PIN. So once you have a PIN, it's yours, whether you're a parent or whether you're a student, or whether, sometimes the parents will come in and they've had a kid that was in college a couple of years ago and they have a PIN. A lot of times they'll forget it, but you can go to the PIN site and reactivate your PIN. And so if somebody lost or forgot their PIN, go to the PIN site and there's a menu. And as long as they can remember the answer to their challenge question, they can get their PIN. When they don't have a PIN, you can go there. It used to be, that was one of the big sticklers when we were doing FAFSA workshops. If they didn't have a PIN, you couldn't submit it, and it would take about 2 or 3 days. But now they have what's called real-time PIN, and a lot of counselors will have parents get a PIN early, and that's a good exercise. But there's not a delay now. In fact, when you go to the PIN site, not only can you get the PIN right away, but you can make up your own 4-digit number. So that makes it really easy, because most people are more likely to remember a number that they created themselves. But parents that don't have a social, you print the signature page. You print that from there, and then there's an address where you mail it. There's an address that'll tell you where to mail it. But so the parent will sign it, and see right there, the student didn't have to sign it because the student had a PIN. And then they mail it to that address, and then the FAFSA will be processed when they receive that. So in that event that a parent want to have a social, that's an extra step. And so when you have workshops, you may want to have a few envelopes on hand. You may want to have, just ready for that in the event that somebody comes and doesn't have a social. You want to do that.